Go live. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the MicDrop Podcast. It's your boy, Alex Wardu, back in the building. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow the Twitter IG at Drop the Damn Mic. Follow the IG page at MicDrop Podcast. We got a special guest in the building, Isadore. How do you say your last name?
Noir.
Isadore Noir. Say what's up to the people.
Hello, people.
That shit was lagging so much.
Yeah, I was like, is it me?
I'm gonna just hold on. I'm gonna just go on my laptop. I'm just going on my laptop.
All by myself.
Yeah.
I'm on this flight all by myself.
All right. Serenading us with the beautiful voice already.
Well, I try.
All right, so let's get started. So talk about where you're from, what got you into music in the first place, like who inspired you, like what was the whole experience like?
I'm from Brooklyn originally. My family's from the West Indies, Trinidad and Tobago and Grenada, and I always sang. My dad sings. A number of family members also sing, and I grew up in church. So, and I as a kid, like very, very loudly. And my uncle, who was my pastor, was like, she's gonna be a singer one day. Turns out he was right. So, I mean, I literally just like always sung. I've never known a life where I didn't sing.
Okay, so were you like in like a gospel by any chance?
A what?
Were you in a gospel group by any chance?
I was in church, and then as a teenager, I was in Gospel for Teens. It's a choir that was started by Vi Higginson and Sissy Houston. Whitney Houston's mom was on the board of directors, and one of the directors at a point, Ulysses Slaughter, rest in peace, and a bunch of other really amazing gospel, were some of the leaders on that. I'd always been in choir in school and stuff like that. Like that was always like my elective or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So when was like the first time where you like realized like, wow, I'm like amazing at singing? Like what was the realization?
To be honest, quite early on. I'm not gonna lie to you. I always like sung in church, and my brother and I would get invited to go to other churches to sing, and I think some of like just being in choir in school, realizing that some people chose this as an elective, and then some people could actually sing, and I think that was kind of like one of the first moments. So like relatively early on, then I think that there's a distinction between that and like realizing that you can be an artist, because I think that there's some people who are stuck in that like I can sing relative to like my immediate peer group, or like in a choir, as opposed to I'm really good at this. So yeah, there was that distinction later on, but even just being in school, whether it was being picked for solos or just the way that I was able to use my voice, like compared to like even what I heard on the radio at the time and stuff like that. So like, yeah, I would say as a teenager.
Was there any vocal training that you had to go through, or have you always just naturally just had the gift of singing?
Always naturally, yes. I mean, again, my dad's a singer. But when I was in the Mama Foundation for the Arts, so it's gospel choir, it still exists in Harlem to this day. They recently they said they've sung at the Grammys, like they've done things with like Google Pixel and stuff like that. And you know, during that time there was a lot of like honing and and maturing of my voice. Even in choir, just like having vocal training and just like having to go exercises and to warm up the voice and stuff like that, I would say yes, like there's definitely through the years. The minute I started going to any kind of formal classes, kind of developing that relationship with my voice. So yeah, like through the choir, through school choirs, because I was in both at the same time.
Mhm.
I pretty much did choir as an elective as much as I could through junior high school and high school. So yeah, so there was definitely training there, and kind of like understanding the voice, and I've just kind of like tried to maintain that, you know, especially more so now that I use my voice more often. And there's some other things that have led to me being a lot more careful and a lot more like training my voice a lot more. But yeah, so there's definitely been formal like breath work and
Yeah.
warm up things like those kinds of things. You know.
So what was the first song that you made, and what was the creative process that went into that? Because people's first song, like mine was terrible. Like I'm never playing that song ever. But people always have like this, and they experience it. They like to go back to kind of pinpoint their evolution in their musical career. What was that point for you?
Yeah, I mean, I always wrote little songs here and there with my brothers. My brothers are both singers and engineers and producers and stuff like that. So I was always like in the corner, like giving my ideas and stuff like that. But the first full song that I wrote, to be honest, I think I still enjoy it. Like, I it's probably in a notebook somewhere. But the first like full song that I wrote, like really wrote out, it exists in the world. I sold it as an NFT for just under an ETH last December. So it exists in the world. I'm actually really proud of it. I was
Mm,
17 when I wrote that full song. Like again, there was little snippets and little songs. Like if I think about the first song that I ever really wrote, me and my brother wrote a song to help us remember our telephone number, as kids, right?
that's
Which I really say, but like, you know, we wrote little songs to help us remember our, like, phone number, our address, and things like that. So, still pretty proud of those, right? Because I think that like music is one of the best ways to like bypass the human subconscious or like whatever. So but yeah, like the first full song that I wrote and recorded, it exists in the world on sound.xyz. It was the first NFT I ever sold. And yeah, it was called Love Again. I liked this boy, and we would just fight all the time. I actually almost flunked out of high school for that.
mm,
So I was given a poem by Elizabeth Barrett Browning called Sonnet 43. And I was supposed to like write about it. I actually didn't really understand the instructions. And I
mm,
was just like too anxious to ask my teacher what the hell she meant. And so I ended up actually never doing the project, but I wrote this song again. I wrote the song instead, rather, called Love Again. And yeah, I she like was like, hey, you didn't turn in your project, like you either are gonna flunk out of like your senior year of high school, or you are going to have to like make up the credit. And like, and so I just made up a whole semester in 4 days. And because English is a really easy subject for me, I can write an essay.
yeah, me too.
So yeah, I was just like, whatever, that's fine. And then, but yeah, I wrote that when I was 17.
Mm.
I like love that song still.
Did you sold it as an NFT back then, or like recently?
No, recently, last December,
Okay.
a year almost.
How NFTs work. Like, I know it's like a thing. It was a thing back then, but I never really understood how those work.
I'm sure, like, I don't know if it was like a thing that much back then when I was a senior in high school. Like, I'm sure the technology existed in some capacity, but like it wasn't mainstream like to the public at all at that point. Like, nobody was talking about blockchain technology at that time. But yeah, so essentially, um, you know, people wanted that song in their like collection. It's like an art collection. And they, I know exactly who has it. I can reward them and gift them with things. Because it's like, traceable. You can actually just like see and keep track of who actually supported your song.
Mm, okay. Okay. Who would you say are some biggest musical influences?
Sure. Uh Brandy, Jasmine Sullivan, Beyonce, Imogen Heap. Um, I really love how weird she is, which in the best way possible. I really listen to a lot of like um, System of a Down, Haley Williams. I listened to a lot of rock music growing up. Um, Etta James, At Last was the first secular, like non-gospel song I ever sang. Um, so yeah, I mean, I would say like those like Anita Baker, Barry White. I listened to a lot of like older music growing up for quite a long time, like even through the early to mid 2000s. Like I didn't really listen to a lot of like R&B. So there's a lot of other people sprinkled in between. I get inspiration from everywhere, but if I had to say like the sonic makeup of like either my voice or like writing style, James Fauntleroy, you know, Stacey Barth. Absolutely love Stacey Barth. But yeah, so, yeah,
Okay, that's a lot of
yeah,
versatile number of
a lot.
artists, you know.
Yeah, Three Doors Down, Panic at the Disco, Green Day. So a lot of like Fueled by Ramen type, music, and then gospel and old school R&B. Donny Hathaway, a lot
Mm,
of like way.
mm, okay, okay. Who were some like artists that have kind of acknowledged you or just gave you um motivation, I guess, to just like keep going as a musical artist?
Um, what a mentor who's become a friend, Michaela Shiloh. She's written for a ton of artists. She's the CEO of Hard Drive, which is a subscription based like record label.
Mhm.
Um, and so her, I mean, obviously Beyonce, right? And so I don't know. I guess I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Like, who are just people that have heard your music and have just like kind of gave you pointers or gave you advice or just showed you appreciation of music?
Um, I was lagging a bit. I was like, what? Yeah, I mean, Timbaland's been having this really long run on TikTok. He heard my music and liked it, so that was really cool. Um, there's like a lot of writers who I respect, whose songs I didn't know I loved, because they're not always in the forefront. Them as well. A friend of mine named Will Jordan, he's always super encouraging and it doesn't see himself as a mentor, but there's just a lot of things that we just exchange as people, and we talk virtually every day, and so it's that's always really beautiful. I mean, I would say like a litany of people. Like I don't know, it feels like name droppy. I don't know, like
Yeah, I
um
mean, well, I don't know if I guess I don't know.
yeah.
That's
I
usually a
mean,
question
I guess
I ask people, but
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, just like everyone I've come across, I think that I'm around a lot of peers or like people that I respect. And so I would say like, you know, um yeah, like even friends, like everyone I come across. I've been very blessed that everyone that I've come across has seen that I'm really passionate about what I do and that I take the time to make it really good. Coco Sarai, she's family though. Like, you know what I mean? Like at this point, like some of these people are like, um, you know, not just like, you know, out in the ether. They're family. Like, Coco Sarai I've known like my whole life. And
Hmm.
you know, um Wiz Buchanan. So just like, you know, a lot of people who have done things that I didn't know that they were a part of, and produced songs, or, you know, engineered songs. And I was in a competition earlier this year to work with Dark Child, and there's just a lot of people who ended up hearing my music as a result of that. And you know, were you know, appreciative of the sounds that I was creating. So,
Mm. What do you see your music like unique? I know it's
I'm
like a
sorry.
loaded question. Like, what do you think makes your music like unique to you?
To
I was
me,
like, yeah,
I think the note choices that I pick aren't always the most expected, which I love. I think that I definitely lean towards like minor notes, and I like a darker sound. And so, even if it is something that's on the happier side, I'm really emotive. I play with cadence and, you know, like song structure a bit. Like, you know, I just have like the way that I think, I go feeling first, and then I fill in the words. I think sometimes people write with the words first, and then I'm like, this sounds like you read it off paper. And I
yeah,
want to feel the music. And sometimes I'm like, you're saying too many words or too big of words or whatever. And there's a time and a place for that. But I think that, you know, I think that my music sounds intentional. I'm not saying that anyone else's doesn't, but um, yeah, I think that that's what makes at least the process different for me.
Mm. Has it always been like that for you, or was it like certain experiences that got you to that, to where you kind of want to put more emotion into your music,
Oh,
or
I've
has that
always
always?
been like that. Like, yeah, like the first song that I wrote, you never heard it, you know, the one that's called Love Again. Like, it's incredibly emotive. In fact, it's so dramatic and so like, this is like, you're 17. It's not that serious. Mind you, the person that I wrote it about, we're friends now, but it's like, it's not that serious. You know, but at 17 you think it is. You think you know what like love is about. But granted, when I look back on it as a person who's not 17 anymore, I'm like, maybe she knew what she was talking about, you know? So yeah, I would, the only thing I would change about that is uh you know, re-recording it, because the um the mix and like the cohesion and the production is like absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For my
Yeah. So the song "Hurt Me," what was that song about, and how did that song come to be?
yeah, I was in like a relationship, and I kind of felt early on that it was not going to be a good time, and I still kind of proceeded with the relationship anyway. I like to think that artists sometimes will have premonitions about things that are not good for them, but we will just proceed anyway, just for the thrill of it. And you know, it ended up dissolving in a very nasty way. And I'm like, I might handle something like that different, but I also don't think it would happen. But you know, have you ever seen that thread on Twitter where it's like, oh, when you just stop liking your girlfriend or whatever? I'm the kind of person, I'm like, I don't, you'll have to use your words with me, and I'm not gonna guess or whatever. And I'm gonna let you like suffer and fester in the fact that you know that you're not doing right by me. And we'll both just be sitting there, you know? And I'll play the game because I'm built for emotional like turmoil. I'm good
Mm.
at it. I'm really, really good at it. And so, you know, yeah, like, so what could be like a rough time for someone else is just like, welcome home, you know, for me. And so, yeah, I kind of just like let it happen, and let it crash and burn. And the person I, you know, her friends, you know, thought I was just like going around telling everyone, and I didn't say anything for 3 months. And then I went to visit my parents, and then my brother produced it, and I produced it with him, and I wrote Hurt Me, um,
Mm.
and let it loose.
Okay. Because like I was listening to it earlier, and I was like, bro, there's so much emotion
Yeah.
in that. It's really heavy.
Yeah.
I'm just be more of like the, I guess you could say the toxic R&B guy, because I kind of like that type of R&B. Seems to be the R&B that's popular now. So, but that song in particular definitely moved.
Sorry, it's frozen for me. Is it me? Oh, is it me? Seems like you're frozen.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, my bad. Wi-Fi. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I definitely do like that song a lot. So the newest song that you dropped was called "Your Move,"
I
and
didn't hear your question.
what was that?
I didn't hear the end of your question.
Oh, it wasn't a question. It was just saying how much I like that "Hurt Me" song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was saying it was kind of like saying like, oh, I like it. I actually thank you. It
Hmm.
was very, very sarcastic, and it progressively got more sarcastic. Like the beginning was kind of like, woe is me, sad, and then you get to the chorus and it's like, I actually I like it because one, I know what to do with it, and I kind of like expect it or whatever. And then the second verse is way more like sarcastic and sinister, and in fact, it's inviting the energy of whatever hurt, because it's like not really a checkmate. It's not really what it is. Funny enough, like considering I put your move, but
Yeah.
the right reference, but like it's not really even that. It's very much like I saw this coming, but I'm also fucking nuts. So
Hmm.
let's right like, but make sure when you're telling everyone that I'm crazy, like just make sure you tell them how much, and send them the song too, please.
I definitely will. I definitely
Make
will.
sure you're gonna tell people I'm crazy and or about you, because like I love very hard, and I think that
Yeah.
I I used words that this person actually said to me in the song, and so that's why it made it very, very, very personal.
Mm,
Um, so yeah,
mm.
just make sure if you're gonna tell people I'm crazy, tell them like the pen is also crazy, the vocals are also crazy.
That is a
You
fact. I ain't
make
gonna
sure you,
lie. No, you was snapping on that. I'm not gonna lie. What do you think? What do you think about just the landscape of music right now? Do you think music's kind of saturated, just in general, not just with R&B, but just with music in general? Do you think it's like really saturated? Do you feel like
yes, and,
it's the same repetitive topics and stuff?
yes and no. I think that there's a lot of people who shouldn't be doing it, and so that's the saturation, I think. But I think that there's equally as enough good people who are like people who are good that are doing it, because I don't know if they're good people, but the people who are good that are doing it, and part of it is like that there's a lot of like competition for attention in general, every industry, everything that thrives off of visibility it's attention. That's the name of the game. So it's just whatever you do to make sure you have attention on yourself. And I think that then you wouldn't be worried about anything else. I'm not worried about I don't sit around worried about anybody else. If I'm looking at something and I'm like, that resonates with me, then I will figure out a way to make sure that I am doing things that resonate with me. I literally don't care.
Hmm.
I think it's only oversaturated if you think you're not good at it.
Hmm. I see. Okay.
Is fucking Bounty worried about saturation? No, they're not. Oreo's not worried about fucking saturation. They don't give a fuck. Dasani's not even worried about saturation. It's the worst water that there is. They
It's
still keep
terrible.
putting that shit out.
Yeah,
They don't
I
give a
can only
fuck.
drink core. I only drink core and like Celsius energy drinks all day. I don't even
But
drink. Well, I'm drinking regular ass water right now, but
they don't give a fuck though. They don't care.
Hmm.
Fiji water does not give a fuck about saturation because they know that they're you know what I'm saying? They know they that bitch. They don't give a fuck.
And then they overprice for a reason. They know they know they're that bitch and they're overpricing shit. It's like
They don't give a fuck. Because they're like, are you gonna pick Dasani? That says more about you than it does about us. Go ahead and pick Dasani.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm not Dasani, so.
Have there been labels that have like hit you up to try to sign you?
I'm not interested.
Even if you weren't interested, have there still been like offers?
There's been things, but I don't take anything to like heart unless there's like money in my hands. You know what I mean? Like money, like contracts, like, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't consider it that at all. And not interested.
Okay.
Yeah, I would rather like a private investor or something like that. Like, I'm not interested. Like, it would have to be so lucrative, and I would have to do my part to create that, you know, level of lucrative for it to be worthwhile. I'm good at what I do, and like the people who've encountered me, I'm really, really blessed. They know that I'm good at what I do. And so I would, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not interested in anything that looks like I have to like give up a bunch. You know what I mean? It would have to be a trade-off. But like, yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
Do you pride yourself in being an independent artist?
Sure. I mean, because I think that it's not just about the independent label, like whatever. It's about the fact that I have to know certain things in order to navigate it this way. I think it's a knowledge thing. It's less about the independent thing. It's more about knowledge. So, you know, there are some people who are independent and they don't fucking know. Then it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I pride myself on being myself.
That's good. I think a lot of other artists should definitely follow that model because it doesn't seem like they're doing that now.
What do you mean?
It's like I see a lot of artists that kind of try to, you know, follow waves and follow trends, and like at the moment's notice, whenever the first label hits them, just taking it, not reading contracts, you know, doing their due diligence, not buying books on the music industry, the business in general. They'll just whatever's hot, whatever's trendy to get me that money real quick. I'll just do it.
Well, the thing is, they're designed to be that way. Like, the idea of what the music industry has been, or what it was for a long time, like made it so that it seemed like people were just like wonderful. Like, they were plucked from obscurity and then they got a thing. You know what I mean? And it seemed like it was the better option because they were visible. Whole time they were not being treated well, right? So like, there's the idea of what the music industry was like and is only became known to the public recently. Like, when you have the Taylor Swifts of the world being very vocal about their contract, when you have the Meg Thee Stallions of the world being very vocal about what it is that they're going through, and a number of other people who are, you know, laying it out, you know, on the line, who were signed, you know, and dealing with those things. And then you have the Russes of the world who's been independent from the get-go and kind of being like, hey, this shit's not what you think it is, right? And so, especially as we switched from, you know, CD sales to streaming, the money that it took to build the next artist up was not there because the physical merchandise money was not there. And so I'm also just like not a little fucking kid, and I generally like don't believe people, and I'm generally a skeptical person, and I'm generally a cynic. And so that's worked well in my favor, sometimes not, but like, to not get fucked over. And I think that some people realize that they can't fuck me over, and then they don't want to work with me, and I'm like, wonderful, thank you.
Fuck you over as in how? Like, what do you mean by it?
Like whether it's, I mean, in general, but like, it's like specifically like, you know, certain opportunities or whatever, when it's like, it would work better in their favor for me to be a dumbass. They're like, oh, actually like, no, like, yeah, she's talented, but like, she seems like she's going to ask for too much, or she seems like she's not going to let me control her. Great. Wonderful.
So it sounds like someone that knows her worth. I mean, I don't
Well, no,
like.
but the music industry as it stands relies on ignorance and people not knowing their worth,
Mhm.
so that way they can benefit as much as possible. And so I say I like to say that's the majority of how the music industry is operated. So it's either you work through independence to some degree, or you amass a certain type of leverage so that way you can get a Bad Bunny type of deal. Now he's an anomaly, sure, but like the
Mhm.
type of deal that he has is completely riding on the fact that he created the way that he has, and no one can take it away from him.
That's true. That's true. And I think the biggest word in that is leverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's with
So I mean,
anything, leverage.
do to create more leverage. You know what I mean? And part of that is continuing to do what I do best, continuing to work with other artists so that way people know that it's like I can do what I do for me and other people. I was a songwriter before this, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't just
Mhm.
artist, like I was writing and vocal producing for other people. And so, you know, one piece of advice that I got from a songwriter who's written for people that I admire, and there's like a really funny story behind that, but she said to me, she was like, if you're willing to part with songs, then you'll go really far as you pursue your own artistry. So yeah.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Um. So what about the single? This was from last year, I believe. It was called Angel.
Yeah,
What was that song about?
I wrote it a week after Hurt Me, so it's about the same situation.
Mm.
So I basically realized that I was, I was dating a songwriter, and I'm better, so I wrote the song from my perspective, from their perspective, because I realized that I would never get a response record from that was something deemed worthwhile. It would always be something that I would think was objectively asked. So I just wrote it myself.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to do it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, if released and unreleased, I wrote the best things that they came up with. I might as well just do it myself. I was already carrying the emotional load of the relationship, so I might as well just do this part too.
Okay. What's hard drive? What is that?
Hard Drive is a subscription based record label. I would consider it like an artist services, platform. I think that, you know, part of where I am today has to do with being innately talented. I was a great songwriter when I got to Hard Drive, which is what, was started by Michaela Shiloh, who's written for Britney Spears, Janet Jackson, and a number of other artists, and was mentored by Darkchild. And so, um, you know, uh, I think that there's a certain amount of things that artists need to get songs out to the world, right? Like you need to find production. Say you're a singer or a rapper, whatever. You need to find production. You need to get it recorded. Hard Drive's very big on making sure that you have your own recording setup. And there's engineers and mentors there who can show you how to get your own setup done. You need writers. If you don't know how to write yourself or you're working on that, you can either have collaboration sessions or, hire a writer or something. But, there's people to help you get better and, just help in your actual craft. And then, get the song mixed and mastered for a reasonable price. And most people within the community are, going to give you a much better price than you find outside of the community. And get a cover art. There's cover art available on Hard Drive, depending on the plan that you have. You'll get them for free. So I would say that all the steps required, getting the distribution out. Hard Drive does distribution. Getting your splits done, understanding the music business side of it. There's mentorship, there's coaching, there's therapists on staff, and just all the things required to be a well-rounded artist, I think, are available. Whether or not you use all of them, up to you. but it's like an artist like services platform. And I think for a person like me, even just being a part of that, knowing what's required of me or expected of me, is really important. And there's always someone that I can ask for help with. If I run across a contract, which I have before, I can call somebody there and say, hey, I need somebody to help me review this contract, because I'm not sure if I should take this thing. There's also like opportunities to get sync placements and, write for other artists and things like that. I, have a few like sync placements through hard drive. So yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned one thing. Said they have therapists there.
Yeah.
Uh, how important do you think therapy is for Black artists specifically?
Very. I have a therapist and a psychiatrist. And I think that it's really important because I think that as an artist, you're already a sponge for your environment. And we do a lot of working through and transmuting of our situations. So I think that it's important that we understand that we don't have to be at the mercy of our, like, experiencing negative things in life just so we can write about it. And I also think that, just as a baseline, without even being an artist, that there's a lot of things that's, you have to consider and take care of your mind. It's The music industry is already a pretty like murky environment, so I think that it's important to have some sort of system. I think everyone needs therapy, but I think artists, particularly Black artists, make sure you have a secure system.
Mm, yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Yeah, I haven't really. I tried going to therapy one time. Um, that was when my mom had tried to get me to go to therapy. It didn't really work out well because number one, the guy was white and it was a guy. I think I would do better with like maybe a Black female therapist, but that was a while ago.
I don't
But
think therapists are any less qualified. In fact, um, really important to have like diverse makeup. And I also think that, um, I have thoughts about that. Maybe we can talk about that off air. But
okay.
yeah, I just don't. I think that pursuing therapy should be just the right fit for you. As far as just like feeling out who that person is. I don't think that it necessarily has to be a Black woman.
Mm, okay. So this is a question that I ask a lot of people that I interview on here. Who are three? I'll just say three artists that you would love to work with, like dream collabs, I guess you would want to work with,
Yeah.
and maybe three songwriters that you would want to work with too.
Definitely Stacey Barth. Absolutely love her. Thames as an artist and a writer.
Okay,
Mm, and Victoria Monet as an artist and a writer.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
those three.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, as he said, three artists and three writers. I already got two.
Yeah,
And then I'd love to write for Beyonce. I think that I could tell stories that she would want to be able to like, you know, yeah, I think I could write stories that she would want to tell. And Jordan Sparks, I really want to write for her.
I love
Um,
Jordan Sparks. Yeah.
I love her song that came out, you call my name. I really like it. I think that it's a great way of utilizing her voice that I haven't heard in a long time. I'm really happy for her. Um, yeah, I don't know if I need to, but those are definitely some people that, uh, and like, gosh, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Leon Thomas. At the breaking
I love
point.
Leon Thomas. Okay, I like that lineup a lot. Okay, yeah, I love Thomas. Victoria Monet. I like Cleo Soul. Cleo Soul would be nice. Yeah, it's a lot of different artists that I would personally love to collaborate with myself, and I'm not even really like the singer type of artist. I'm more of like a rap type of guy, but I like contrasting sounds, so I think that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Where do you where do you see yourself like musically like a year from now? Because I hate asking people like, where do you see yourself like 3 to 4 years from now? I'll be like, I don't even know.
I
Like,
mean, I think that if an artist that wants to take this seriously, you should know 3 to 4 years from now. You should be asking yourself that. Like, I'm not talking about you. I mean, in general, any artist
mhm,
should be asking themselves the 1 year and the 5 year. Because I have this theory that we should be, not should, because I don't like that word, but I have this theory in life about like the GPS. Because like when you are putting in something for a GPS, you don't put in the process, you put in the destination. And it's the GPS's job to figure out how you're going to get there. So I mean, that's what I do. And so you know, I think you should know. I think artists should know who, especially if you have a very strong why. And I think that that's part of what's missing in artist development. I started that for myself really seriously last year. Like I was pretty set on what I wanted and things like that. But you know, even through Hard Drive, I went to an artist development camp in November of last year. And, you know, I think the minute I started like wearing my hair blonde, I had made a decision already at that point. Now, the reasons why I did it had nothing to do with my artistry per se, but you know, when it became a thing, I was like, wait, this is a brand thing. Like, okay, so then now where do I go from here? Because something has shifted, something changed. And so anyway, I said I would say we should know. Um, but yeah, I
mhm.
mean, next year, at least, you know, by this time next year, definitely doing more performances, a lot more visual content. That's been my goal, and that's going to be the goal over the course of the next year. More visual content, having a full album out, and you know, creating content surrounding that. You know, that like bus, another bus. You know, like that sound or whatever. It's
Mhm.
like photo shoot, a video, more studio sessions, writing for other artists, performing live more because I think like you know, people know that I can sing. They know, but I think having the content there is going to be the thing that solidifies it so it can speak for itself and go further than I can, you know, than my physical person can ever go, right? Because like people can share and listen and you know, to the videos and whatever, even if I'm not physically around them when I'm goddamn asleep. So you know, having that and then you know, doing tours over the next 2 or 3 years and stuff like that. And you know, getting a Grammy in the next 3 years, 3 to 5 years. For what category? Not really sure right now, but I'm not the GPS. I'm just a girl, and I put what I want in the GPS, and I will be navigated there.
How strongly do you believe in manifestation?
Incredibly, incredibly. Want to know a story?
Hmm.
Speaking of your move, in March of this year, I did a voiceover for Hard Drive that actually recently came out, and it jokingly because you know like Hard Drive, whether or not I use Hard Drive's art like cover art services, their stick being them being a stickler for better cover art definitely does like inspire me. You know what I'm saying? And so I did a voiceover, and the voiceover said, "I'm gonna clean up my cover art and Grammy award winning producer." It was in March. I hadn't even met Jon Lewis at that time. I hadn't even met Jon Lewis at that time. And very shortly thereafter, I met a Grammy award winning producer, and now the song is out. So that coupled with, you know, a couple other things, even that story about the person who was like, oh, if you're willing to give up songs that that you write, it can take you far. That was a manifestation as well, you know, because the person who said that to me wrote one of my favorite songs. So it's like, you know, things like that. So yeah, I believe in it strongly. I know like we're constantly manifesting. It's not just the good things. Sorry, I'm getting messages and I need
You're fine.
um, but yeah, I think that we're constantly manifesting for the good, for the bad, for everything or whatever, however we decide to label it. I mean, although I like to think that everything's always working out in my favor, even the things that aren't pleasant. Because pleasantries don't make a life go round, it's all the things. So yeah, I think we're constantly manifesting. So I mean, whether or not you want to believe in it, it doesn't matter. You're constantly co-creating the experiences that you're having.
Mm. Which do you love more, or do you love songwriting more, or do you actually love making music more?
Like singing.
Yeah.
I like singing a lot, but I just don't like to sing things I haven't written. So I
Mm.
hate like one of my pet peeves is like people saying, "Oh, I wrote a song for you," and I'm like, "Okay, that sounds personal. You wrote a song for you, and you think that I should sing it." That has
What did
nothing
that
to do.
person mean when they were saying that though? Like, what does that
Huh?
mean though? Like, what does that mean when they say that though? Like, oh,
Well,
I
they're
wrote it like a song.
they're enthusiastically, putting words together, and then they think that I would be the best voice for it. But
Oh.
literally more often than not, like there's very few people who can do that for me. Very few. Michaela's one of them,
Mm.
but she's spent her more than half her life at this point writing songs for other people. So there's a a curve to that. But yeah, like I I despise that because I think it's always just like people's way of wanting to like, well, I can't do it, so if like she can sing, but I'm not like a singer who's just like a figurehead for other people's words. The reason why people like what I say is because I said it.
Mm. So you feel like people like what you do because it's unique to you, not necessarily just because of how you're saying it or what you're saying. It's because you're saying it, basically.
Yeah, and how I'm saying it is directly like related to how I see the world. You know, it's very personal. My music sounds personal. Even the songs
I
that
think all music should be personal, honestly. But the way the
it's not,
music industry is,
it's
it's hard to
not,
find.
but it's not the truth, right? So if that was the truth, then this would be a different conversation. But it's not the truth.
Mm.
And so the reality is that I think that you know the thing that people hear from me is that it feels like when they are singing it that it there's something that cuts through because I believe what I'm saying. And they're good songs, but it also sounds like the person doesn't believe what they're saying. People aren't dumb; they can tell.
That's true.
And so,
I've
uh,
made songs in the past where like it kind of went back to what you were saying, where it sounds like you're singing like, or like it sounds like you're rapping something you wrote and just are just saying, but you don't like feel anything from the song. That's kind
yeah,
of what was earlier in my, I guess, music artist, if you want to say it was, but now I'm starting to understand like what that really means and what that sounds like. So,
yeah, commit to the character. Yeah, commit to the role 100%, even if it feels awkward. I often am very awkward, you know, to other people. Like other people say that they can't tell, but I'm like, well, I live in my body. So, it's very awkward when I like write sexy songs or whatever, but I
mhm.
have to commit to the character. I have to commit to the role and then I can get out and be weird about it after.
Do you think fans really care how personal you are on songs as long as the song sounds good to them?
They care if you make it believable. If it's not believable, then they don't give a shit or they don't feel as connected to it.
But as far as like them actually wanting to replay the song over and over again, do you think that's as important to them? It's just like a trendy or catchy song. Do you think if they're
The song
telling
is
the
trendy
truth
and
about it?
catchy because the person committed to it. Ice Spice is trendy and catchy because she commits to her persona, whatever it is. We don't know that woman in real life, but whatever it is that she's giving us, she commits to it and it's consistent. So at least the belief is that it's real or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Like, keep it a stack. Like, I literally don't care. Like,
My thing is like I agree. I agree with that. My
I
thing is like I
don't
don't
care.
really feel people care. Maybe it might just be like
No, like they care if it's believable. They care if it's consistent, right? And like on the surface. When they start getting to be like really deep fans or whatever, then they start hearing if there's inconsistencies between what used to be versus what is now, like things that they would do with Nicki or whatever, or whomever it is. When you have a large enough catalog, and people either feel like you're not growing or you've whatever, and then they can nitpick it all they want to, but at the end of the day, like, you know, fans are willing to evolve with you, but at the end of the day, things need to be relevant for where you are at that time. And people are smart enough, people in general are smart enough to suss it out. Even if you're a fan and you may not say so out loud, you may be like, something about that doesn't seem like they believe that, but fuck it, we ball. You know what I'm saying? And so they may not say it loudly enough, but they will talk louder about the things that they do like. The critics, people who aren't fans of yours that just want to critique you, might care more. But like, I think that people who are wanting to show up for a person as an artist are going to show up regardless. They're just going to like some shit more. But they will always notice when things aren't committed to.
Do you think every critique is a good critique?
No, that's why I don't give a fuck. Some people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Some people only critique things because they wish they could do that, or they wish that they could, they either wish they could bask in their own artistry, or they wish they had the natural talent, or they were told no a bunch of times, and like now they're relegated to being a critiquer, or like a person who's just what's the word, an onlooker. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you're a spectator, right? And so that's where they sit.
What about the people that might have constructive criticism, that might be hearing something you may not be hearing, that you could approve upon?
People think that their criticism is constructive, but a lot of people have not done enough emotional. I'm serious. A lot of people have not done enough emotional work to know the difference between what's constructive and what's just talking out of your fucking ass. Seriously, a lot of people have not. And you have, as an artist, critique only does two things for you. It either actually helps you do something better because you believe what that person's saying, or you double down on what it is that you already are doing. Period. End of sentence. And I think that also we've gotten into this culture of critiquing everything instead of enjoying something. At the end of the day, if you have to critique it that much, you probably don't enjoy it. Move on. Move on. A lot of people just cannot move on to things that they like, to finding things that they actually like.
What if it might be a song that you're kind of iffy on, but you keep replaying it and you eventually like it, but you can't really understand why?
You would ask. Then you need to develop a relationship with trusted people who make music you respect, and they're consistent enough at making music that they respect. I don't ask a bunch of people for critique. Sharing my music with the world is a fucking gift. Period. It's a gift, right? I make music that I like, and I put it out into the world, and I'm grateful beyond measure that other people want to listen to it. But I think about them when I'm writing music too, in the final stages. I'm mostly thinking about what I like. Granted, there are few people that I trust in the world that I know are not going to lie to me. A lot of creatives are surrounded by people who will lie to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that person, and I attract a bunch of people around me who are not those people. So when I send you something and I say, hey, I'm working on learning how to engineer myself, I need your unbiased viewpoint, and I need you to tell me the truth, not because you love me. And loving me means you're going to tell me the fucking truth. What's going on here? You've been engineering for 10, 15 years. What's going on here? Then I will ask. And because I'm developed enough as a human being to ask and do something about it. A lot of people ask because they want they want to be spoon-fed pudding.
I think there's genuinely people that just want to see their favorite artists be better artists. I do see where you're coming from. Whereas,
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, like, I think it's on both ends. The creative needs to develop a better relationship with the people who are in their inner circle, where they can ask for critique and know that they're getting good critique. Mm-hmm. So that way, when it does come out into the world, I'm not fucking asking for permission to be myself.
Yeah.
When the song is out, I'm not asking anymore. Thank you for listening. I put a lot of work in behind closed doors, so that way when it comes out to the world, I'm not asking for permission. but everyone wants to rush. And then they want to get critique on the back end.
That is true. People do want
They
to rush.
want to, that's fine to get better in public. I'm always going to get better. I'm constantly in a state of getting better. I'm routinely getting better. My life is an act of leveling up, right? But it doesn't mean that I am not putting in work on the back end. I don't get it. I don't get and the thing is, people can critique, and like I said, I don't have to listen to it. It either is I said what I said, or thank you for that. I'm going to take that into account next time. One of two things. Very simple.
Okay. Yeah, I've never really been I'm kind of like you, where I don't really give a fuck what someone says about my music. It's at the end of the day, it's an art form, so it's going to be subjective whether a person likes it or hates it or kind of thinks it's mid.
Yeah, there are rules, right? Music theory has rules. Music theory is math and science. There are rules, and you have to know them well enough, either intrinsically or by practice and being learned, to break them. Otherwise, it will not have widespread appeal. Even the song you hate the most follows the rules and then somehow breaks them. I'm blue da ba dee da ba da follows the rules and then partially breaks them. The fucking Macarena song, it you know what I'm saying? It follows rules and then breaks. Ice Spice, which people have very strong opinions, follows the rules and then breaks them. Sexy Red, remember when she did that Making My Way Downtown remix? Followed the rules and then broke them. And a lot of people just want to break the rules and fucking go into the house like a bull in a china shop before they learn the rules. Learn the rules.
A bull in a china shop's crazy.
Kodak Black knows the rules and breaks them.
What about how does he break them?
He him mumbling where he's damn near unintelligible on a song, right? He has his own flow and his own feel and his own cadence or whatever, but there's still musicality there. Period. At the end of the day, Bryson Tiller knew the rules and then broke them.
What would be those rules of you said it was music theory, right?
Music theory, song structure, all of those things, like how long a certain verse should be, how you should express, how you should emote, vocal production, note choices. James Fauntleroy knows the rules, chronically breaks them. Stacey Barth knows the rules, chronically breaks them. To write a song, you probably wouldn't know this song, but when I was younger, I listened to a song called Drink My Pain Away, Changed My Life, because it didn't follow the exact rules of song structure. And I thought she did the wrong thing. And at that point, I realized when you're that bitch and you know what you're doing and you're telling a story and it's actually emotive and it's actually tugging at the heartstrings of people, you're not just fucking saying words. When you're going over things and actually taking time to see how it's going to be received, how does your spirit receive it? Then you can also write bigger. You can do both. You can break the rules and you can follow them to a T. Play around with emphasis and play around with, I'm a vocal producer, right? So not just for myself, I vocal produce and I make my own cadences and whatever myself. But I do that for other people. And I can hear the difference between when they came into it following the rules, all in the lines. And I'm like, you can follow the rules, but then you sound like a fucking hall monitor that wrote a song. Nobody gets a song.
A hall monitor is
with the pen. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. So,
I just, I agree with what you're saying. I'm kind of like you, where I don't really care. I think a lot of people have that mindset too when it's negative criticism most of the time. Or if it's positive criticism most of the time. If it's always either, this is really, really good to put out, but that one negative criticism has you kind of questioning yourself or questioning
that means
how good of an artist you are.
That means you care, right? And I don't think that people should shy away from that. I also think too, people need to be bold enough and strong enough to say, I'm not accepting critique at this time. You can say it, but I'm not going to be a container for your critique if I'm not in a place to receive it. If I share a song with someone, I will let them know if I'm looking for critique. I also don't send people songs unsolicited. Too, I think that people just like are not socially aware, and they are also not socially aware of themselves and what they want to experience in a communication. If I send a song, I sent my song out to a bunch of people prior to it being released, but I asked them, do you want to hear my newest song that's coming out? Yes, great. I'm sending it to people who I know have either expressed that they want to hear my things in the past or XYZ, whatever, and that's the relationship and rapport that we've built. If you want to hear it, let me know, but I'll wait until you tell me. And then I'll send it. Not looking for critique. Sure, you're like every opinion is not a critique. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think that a lot of culturally what we have gotten to a place of is like we're always just looking for a way. How about what if I liked it just as it was? Then the critique has nowhere to go. And so I tell people that, and people are shocked that I won't be a container for what their idea of what the song should be. I was intentional when I made it. I knew what the fuck I was doing when I made it. And if that's the case, if you want something different, go make it.
So why do you send the song before and not?
Because I'm sharing it. It's intimacy. Intimacy. I'm sharing with you something that I've made it before the rest of the world gets to hear it. That's intimacy. And we've lost the idea of sharing music before, like I'm not sharing it because I'm like gonna go back to the drawing board. It was done. It was done. It was already submitted to the DSPs. It's done. It's intimacy. It's exclusivity.
Right.
You got a piece of me. I thought of you before everyone else.
That makes sense. Okay. Well, what do you want to talk about? Honestly, I don't even know what else to talk about.
I don't know. I love when people ask questions. I mean, whether or not I'll answer all the questions, who knows? But I don't know. I came to be interviewed.
Okay.
But I mean, we can talk for the process of making it or whatever. I don't know.
The process of making the newest song you dropped?
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of have an idea because you mentioned it earlier, but if there's anything else that led up to that, because I know you said you because it went back to our manifestation topic, obviously, the whole Grammy situation where you met Jon Lewis, but
I didn't know he had a Grammy when I reached out to him.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, his bio was different. His bio used to just say Fruity Loops changed my life.
That's funny.
Yeah, which apparently it did. But I ran across Jon. He had a very strong music opinion. He and I are both very opinionated people. We're both very particular people. We're both kind of grumpy. I'm not grumpy. He's grumpy. I'm irritable. Great. Wonderful match. And he said something that was like, not many people have that strong of an opinion on that. Interesting. And so I think I said something, I responded to, and then I saw him say something else again. I was like, I like the way this person thinks. I'm going to follow him. This is on Twitter. I was like, and, then we would just exchange back and forths about like ideas and views about like the world. It had nothing to do, just like whatever. And I said something about gratitude, and we just started talking about like gratitude. And then we were talking privately about how like doing music at a certain point when you're really good at it is an act of gratitude. Getting better at it is an act of gratitude. Constantly using your resources, who's around you, whatever, it's an act of gratitude. And so, I, after a couple months of just being friends, and I listened to his music because I thought he was just a singer. And I was like, okay, great. He can sing. Cool. Wonderful news. And then a few months went by, and I was just like, why don't we have a song together? Or why don't we at least try to work on one? I'm thinking we're going to write a song together, him on the first verse, me on the second verse. Boom, it's going to be great. The man sent me production. I was like, oh. Okay. Well, fuck. I guess we're not doing a song together. But then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's a producer. And then the Your Move beat was the first one he sent me. He sent me the beat. I sent him back a reference demo that night. And the reference demo sounds almost exactly like the song. I was just like mumbling. I was like, as soon as I heard the beat, I was like, I don't know what it is, but all eyes are on me. I know that's right. I know
Mm.
that. I don't know what it is about this that makes me feel like I am the center of attention at a club, but we're gonna go with it. And then I started getting into writing it, and I was like, damn, I don't know if I'm writing this for someone else. I think I'm writing this for me. And then I sent it back to him, and then when I started, he was like, all right, I like where you're going with it. Keep going. Like, he was like, yeah, I'm fucking with it. He's not very like emotive in that way. He's just like, yeah, I'm fucking with it. Like, okay. And I was like, okay. So I went back and I pretty much wrote it out. And then I don't know what, like, mind you, he texted me and he was like, see what you can do with this. And I was like, okay. And then I, kind of like wrote the whole song out. For some reason, I mean, I know what reason. I had been working for a couple months to try to refine my own recording setup. And then I was like, I'm gonna engineer this song. I'm gonna engineer my vocals. I'm gonna EQ myself. I'm gonna learn, like, Googling and YouTubing things and like learning how to put the telephone effect on my voice and the microphone, like whatever. I was like, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna know things when I come out of this. And I did it, and I sent it back to him. He was like, yeah, I'm fucking with it. Let's get this shit. Like, let me mix the wait now. Let me mix the beat now. You know what I mean? Like, let's put in the investment, because it's like I sent you something. You sent it back the same night. I'm seeing that you put in the investment into it. And then I kind of sat with it for a few days, and I was like, something's missing. Either he's gonna have to, adjust the production, or I'm gonna have to do more. But I'm always in the vein of I gotta do more. And he was like, I'm not really sure. And I think he was leaning to like, nah, you need more vocals on here. And then I just started going ham with the back vocals and just like filling up the sound of the
Definitely
song.
did. Definitely did.
Thank you. And then like, and I was like, it needs a punchy part. And then I was like, face down there, don't be shy, baby, don't wait. Like, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, what's happening here? So then I like filled in all of those areas and like, just doing things that gave it ambiance, and
Hmm.
that's how it came to be. And then we had like 2 Zoom sessions that were like 4 hours long, like mixing and like playing each part individually, and like really, being really meticulous about what stayed and what went. You know what I mean? Like, really going over it line by line and like track by track. And then him mixing, like the production. He's like, what parts, what elements do you keep? What do you hate? Like anything that I asked him to try, he tried. Anything that he wanted to try, there was like freedom to try, because we were just like, whatever. Like, we both don't think music is fun. And I love that for us.
In what way?
Music is not, when you're doing music and for real and you want it to be heard by as many people as possible, when you unless you already have like a flow that's like you're already embedded in a very good flow and a consistent flow that works
Mhm.
already, Drake can go in and have fun, because like almost anything he does will work.
So a person that
The,
knows
the
their
man can
voice.
get boop boop. And Kanye did that, right?
Hmm.
And guess what? Even if we think it's dumb, it worked to some degree, because you have a flow, you have an ability to get the sound to be as clean as possible, and you are already steeped in your musical like experience, right? But when you are still figuring it out, or you're venturing into something new, this was the most upbeat song that I've personally done. This is the first time I'm working with this person. This is the first time I'm doing a song like this sexy, like whatever. There's still a figuring it out. Now, did I eat that? Yes, but that's
Yeah.
not the point.
I see my low. He said that she killed that verse. You know damn well she did.
Who, me?
Yes, you. That shit is
Oh,
fire.
thank you. Thank you so much. But what I'm saying is, in the process of mixing it and like whatever, like going through that part of that's not fun. It's not fun.
Well, the process
I
in making
enjoy it.
music
No, no,
is
no.
tea.
No, it's not. I enjoy it, but the shit is not fun. I'm like, it's not like, it's not, there's I'm thinking of the reception. I'm thinking of the consequence. I'm thinking of the like doing things vocally technically correct. I enjoy that. I enjoy the grueling process of making music, but it's not fun. Just because I find joy in something, it doesn't make it fun. Like, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm up
Okay.
all. I'm like, it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
I can do other things and have fun, right? Like it's like there's joy in it though. There's passion in it though. But I'm not having fun. But I love that though. I love that because I know that it means I take it seriously. Now other people can say that, but John and I have a theory where it's like if people say it's fun, it's not. It don't got no motion, no money, or it don't sound that good.
No motion is crazy.
No motion, no money, and it's not like something is not something. And you know what I'm saying?
I can see that. I just think it's more so like
Typically,
the process is tedious. I understand that,
I
but
like what I'm saying. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's not fun though. There's been times like, all right, I'll put it to you like this. Like I was in a studio with this rapper. Do you know who Mr. Fab is? I didn't know who he was, respectfully, who he was prior to this, because I'm from the East Coast, so I didn't know Mr. Fab, like Bay Area, like legend or whatever. Like I wasn't familiar, but I got invited to a studio session with him, right? And I was tired. It was 12:30. I was tired, but was I in absolute joy? And we knocked out a song in 2 hours from start to finish. I'd never met the man before that day, right? Was tired. I was, unsure of myself. I wanted to make sure that I, conducted myself in a manner that I could be proud of. But he's like, you need anything? I was like, a bottle of water and 2 shots of whiskey. Let's go. That's like, but I was enjoying myself. The passion of what I love to do fueled me. And we were there till like 2 something in the morning, right? Like I was tired. I had been up all day. So it's like there's not fun always, but there's joy. Similar to like sessions I was doing out in Texas. And, there was a bit of like tension in the beginning because I'm like, there are people in my session that don't belong here. And one thing I do not do is I'm not yelling over anybody. So I need to assert that I need to make sure that my session is conducted in a way. Oh. Well, I'll just say this for the live. I need to make sure that my sessions are conducted in a way that
all right. I don't know what the fuck happened. My Wi-Fi fucking up.
I've got a bit of juice here because I didn't bring my, but I need to make sure my sessions are conducted in a way where I can, I don't like a bunch of like breaks. I don't like a bunch of like yelling. I don't like smoking and a bunch of raunchy drinking. Like I do the shots for like warm, like my voice itself, like I'm not, and if I'm gonna drink, it's gonna be gin. But so yeah, like gin. And so I'm like, hey, like I'm not gonna yell over anybody else who's just in here talking and they're not in the session, they're not contributing to the session, so I'll wait. It's not fun. Those moments aren't fun. But I find joy in knowing that I take my craft that seriously. I don't like to waste it. I can dilly-dally around when I'm recording myself at home.
So you don't think fun and joy are synonymous with each other?
I don't think that they're like, they might have similarities, but I don't think that they're the same thing, which is why they're separate words.
Well, you say it like that, I can see that.
Like they're like, I think, it's a game of semantics, but I don't think that they are the exact same thing. I think joy has a different undertone to it, and it's not quite as it emanates from a different part of the soul. And I think fun is more like fluff, there are pockets of fun. I do think that. But fun is not getting splits done. Fun is not getting the things submitted to the DSPs. Fun is not doing the cover art in a way that makes sure it's compelling to like a broad range of people. That's not fun. It's not fun. Fun is not sending emails or like whatever. There's joy though. I think there's passion, there's commitment, there's dedication. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the voiceover stuff, like, do you still do voiceovers?
Yeah.
Um,
I
to
do
be
them
the
more private, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll do voiceovers for Hard Drive quite a bit. The voiceover for a friend's, music video literally today. So things like that. I would love to do more commercialized voiceovers. I realized and I would have to be like involved in like SAG-AFTRA, like stuff like that, which I actually don't want to be involved in. I really don't.
why?
Um, Politics, and like, I just don't want that. I literally, it's just like, give me my money and then I want to go. But I understand that that is that would take some of the fun out of it for me. So I realized that I would have to either just like keep it like personal, like, private clients, or, decide that I have to, cross that line of demarcation, and, so that way I could do like Mercedes-Benz commercials, or like
Mm,
Target, or
yeah.
Planet Fit, whatever the fuck.
My guy Flying Low said she could sing, no cap.
Oh, thanks.
Facts.
How did he come across that? Did you just listen?
Uh,
Or-
I don't know. He probably I don't think I posted yet, so I don't know.
Oh,
He follows my channel closely. That's my guy Flying Low.
I love flying.
Um, yeah, shout out to my guy Flying Low. Um, well, shit. I guess that's everything. Your move. I think
Yeah.
it's a really really great song. I think I definitely feel a lot of emotion from that too as well. It's a little bit more upbeat. I love that song a
Like,
lot too.
it, it's intense. I'm a very intense person.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I could be the same way. I'm not gonna say I'm intense. I
I
can
am.
be. I can be though.
I've accepted it. I used to think I wasn't. I used to think that people were just like being dramatic. I am intense as a person.
Mm. He said he heard "Rather Be and Hurt Me."
Oh,
Okay,
actually, so much.
okay. Do you like upload this like other DSPs too, like AudioMac and like SoundCloud and stuff?
I do.
Okay.
I'm very endeared to audio now. So
Why AudioMac?
I think that it has a world audience, a global audience, that I think that my music would possibly resonate with, just because of my heritage. And so I want my music to be available to those people, because, you know, especially with the cost of music being driven down so much. It's like we'll just have to find another way to, know, monetize it. But I think that reaching an audience of people who do really want to hear you and want to support you in other ways, is beneficial. So it's like, let the music go as far.
Do you think the cost of a stream should probably change, or like what counts as a stream?
At the very least, no matter what, people should be getting paid minimum of a penny per stream. Minimum.
Yeah, yeah,
Minimum. At the very least. I
yeah.
think I have some ideas about how a model could go, where people, people's actual dollar amounts could, kind of have a bank, and then as they stream, it kind of takes from that bank.
Hmm.
If you listen to a song 50 times, that's 50 cents, and your 10.99 subscription now has 10.49 in it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of using their dollars as a, like, almost like a jukebox kind of thing. um so I have thoughts. I also think that blockchain technology and the culture surrounding blockchain technology, where people want to pay artists directly for their music, can also help. Like,
Uh, I don't know. I think stream farming might affect that too.
people are always going to stream farm, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have a bank and you want it to go to that artist, then you want it to go to that artist. That's what I'm saying. Like, if a person who is playing a song knows that when they play that song, it will go to their artist, why would I stream farm? Then I could just do that myself at home. And what would be the point? I could just keep my money in my pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
So I think that as it stands right now, like allowing people to receive me in the parts of the world where I think that I could thrive is really important. And I do appreciate Audio Mac's commitment to doing that. And I love their like message your followers function. It's so cool.
Yeah, I do like because my girl oh, not my girl, Jesus Christ, my friend on Twitter, Trina, she interviewed the founder of Audio Mac. So
Brian,
yeah,
Big
yeah.
Daddy C. I call him that. It's okay. We've discussed it.
Yeah, yeah. And the way he was talking about the app, like the whole how much of a community there is on Audio Mac compared to other DSPs is probably the most valuable thing about it.
Mhm.
Um, I've never really used Audio Mac as much. I've used, Apple, Spotify. I tried Tidal, wasn't for me.
Love Title.
Um,
Highest payout for artists, and I think that
it did,
there's a
yeah.
the quality of sound is really immaculate there.
Hmm.
I will say now DistroKid does distribute to Audio Max, so it makes it easier. So you don't have to do a separate upload.
Okay, okay,
Mm.
okay. Um, yeah, Tidal is. I tried, it wasn't for me, but
They
Audio
need better.
Mac.
They need better design, but it's yeah.
Yeah, I think the interface too is like.
Mhm. But they do really good about showing credits and really making it an artist friendly platform. I love Tidal. I love,
Mm.
but I also have 2% on my phone.
Okay. Um, I guess that's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you for coming through. I know you're probably busy, very, very busy, getting a million texts right now, probably. So,
I think they, but
you say what?
I said they've died down, but no, I don't know.
Yeah. But anyone that shares their energy with me, I'm very appreciative because people go through things all the time, and it's definitely crazy nowadays in society. So people obviously prioritize other things for other situations. So
Yeah,
I appreciate you coming through and
thank
sharing the
you,
energy.
thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem.
It was a
No
pleasure.
problem.
We'll talk soon, and it was lovely to do this.
Hmm.
Love
Let
being.
let the people know where to find you, like Twitter, Instagram, all that.
I'm a big fan of brand continuity, so I'm the same everywhere. ISADORE NOIR.
Simple and short. Simple and short. I like it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Y'all make
You.
sure y'all go stream your move, all that shit,
Yeah,
man. You know what I'm saying?
and shake your hips. Send me videos if you want to. I'm not much of a dancer, but you know what I'm saying. I want.
All right, all right. Again, appreciate you for coming through.
Thank you. Have a good one.